The pads were popping in the Carolinas today, most notably in Charlotte, North Carolina, as the pads came on for the Carolina Panthers. Let's get you caught up on all the news from training camp. Let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. As always, appreciate you guys tuning in, those that are new, those that have been here, those that have unsubscribed and resubscribed, or unsubscribed and still check on me. Like, hey, appreciate everyone. It takes a minute to watch this or listen, of course, wherever you get your podcast. We're gearing up for a big season, closing in on 3,000 subscribers. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Carolina Panthers, and it was a hot one today. I can attest to it. In Wilmington, I went out to run. I don't know what time it was, 2:30. It was blazing. Had to be 100 plus is what it felt like outside. These guys are playing football in this condition. They have a very nice refrigeration cooler system that those guys can hop into. And on days like this, I'm sure they appreciate it. Now, there's a storyline coming out of here that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. And to be honest, it gets me a little bit excited. The fact we have a linebacker popping a running back leads to a little bit of a scuffle. We need some of that. We need some of that here in Carolina. We're going to talk about Chuba, Hubbard, and Trevin, Wallace in just a little bit. But before that, we're going to get you up to speed with some of the latest transactions. And folks, I will say, some of you may wonder, like, where do you fit in, speaking of me, when it comes to Carolina Panthers content? And folks, I'm not here to tell you who to watch and who to follow. I'm here to tell you, though, that what you're going to get out of me is consistent content. I appreciate some of you folks calling that out. So I'll do everything I can to give you a valuable, honest opinion on what I see and what we hear and we assess as we get into this. So, but enough of that. Let's talk about it, folks. Let's talk about the latest news coming out of Carolina. We are actually going to start with the transactions here. I don't know for you guys if you've been up to speed with everything that's happened. Most notably for today, the Panthers activated defensive tackle Bobby Brown III, most notably our nose tackle, and punter Sam Martin. So this just leaves Dan Chisena and Tommy Tremble. And we know Tommy Tremble's injury is a little more severe. I did see Mike Kay of the Charlotte Observer, or someone that was in attendance today. I don't know. I follow a bunch of those folks, but someone said Dan Chisena was on the side. It was Mike Kay because it was in his notebook. Dan Chisena is on the side with a sleeve over his calf. So TBD on when we will see his return. Although, guys, we're talking likely practice squad player here, though he did get to play at the end of last season. Excited to have Bobby Brown the third back. No, not in full pads going out wreaking havoc just yet for the Carolina Panthers, but it's good to have him. And then Sam Martin, of course, in the mix. Now we can get into a true kicking competition. That is something that's been talked about a little bit. Having your actual place kick holder in place and not Andy Dalton there. So we'll see how that plays out. And then, folks, I just don't know from episode to episode how many people are tuning in or not tuning in, although it's quite a bit. But the Panthers signed outside linebacker J.J. Weaver, undrafted free agent, and then waived Amari Barno, who was a notable draft selection from a few years ago. It was interesting because, again, Amari Barno got healthy. Well, he was hurt, then he was healthy, cleared, and then all of a sudden now he's off the team. And then we talked about Mello Dotson and then MJ Devonshire. We've got the full list of transactions right on the screen for you guys. We're going to go in and talk about practice from today. And from all accounts, it was a good practice. From the highlights that we saw, there was a lot of folks running around out there. making some highlight plays. I don't have any of the highlights on this, and for those that wonder why, all has to do with the YouTube monetization. So you will see some new stuff from me where I'm going to try to pull in some of the pictures, talk through that, because I do think there's value there. If I can get some clips and do short videos, we'll do that. But primarily for me, keeping monetization in place, keeping the folks at YouTube happy, that's what we try to do. We'll jump right into this. Now, there was a special guest at practice today. For all my Clemson Tiger fans, you may have noticed this. You may have been excited to see that the one and only Dabo Sweeney was in attendance. And I was actually going through Panthers.com. I don't know. They did get some pictures of Dabo out here. You know what? We're going to share this because that's what we do. That is one thing that I can do from here is share what we see. So I'm going to try to share this screen for you guys that are watching, and let's throw it up there. There he is, the man, Dabo Sweeney, in attendance at practice today. You see his purpose, passion shirt. Got to hear Dave Canales talk about having Dabo Sweeney here in the Carolinas, what it meant for him. Of course, they don't get to talk much, but even spend that 3 to 5 minutes. And a lot of what Dabo talked about and what Dabo's done is building the culture there at Clemson. We had him in attendance out there, of course, and I think there were a few other Clemson guys, but supporting the one and only Hunter Renfrow. You know, since the Carolina Panthers don't like to draft players from Clemson, well, we'll support the guys whenever they get a chance to be on the roster in whatever shape or form or fashion they can be here. And I got to tell you, we're going to talk about Hunter Renfrow in a little bit, and we'll actually come back and look at some of these photos as well towards the end. Let's talk about it. Let's get into training camp right now. Practice intensity was high. Pads on, tempers flaring, like we said, the scuffle, the shuffle with Chuba, Hubbard, and Trevin, Wallace. But the physicality is there, man. You're dialing in, trying to get that game level intensity. Dave Canales talking about that, you know, being able to prepare yourself. So one of the things he said, when you go back and you think about not just, you know, teams of old, but you think about the Carolina Panthers, they've started slow. And a lot of NFL teams, it takes them a few games to get under their belts to figure out how to tackle, how to do things well and play at the speed and intensity that you want. So the Carolina Panthers trying to rev that up a little bit. And I like it, of course, staying within reason. You don't want to be out here blasting all your guys, getting them hurt left and right, going through the practice or anything like that. But bring as much intensity as you can. As we said, the on-field scuffle between Chuba Hubbard and Trevin Wallace sounded like there was an exchange of words, a little bit of, you know, shoving going on. Chuba Hubbard also got a pretty gnarly knot on the top of his head. I don't know how many people saw his press conference, but man, it was out there. He got whopped. Maybe that's why he was feeling that way. But yeah, Canales framed this, and talking through his presser, as playing football, the desire for the guys to toe the line, play physical. And he said a lot of times it's not personal, it's just football. And I like it, man. We need to find some of this within this team. Guys are going to respond passionately, and they don't like getting knocked on their butt. Sometimes they take it personally. I mean, that's just the nature of this. Chuba Hubbard said no hard feelings. Like, we get it. A good play, though, all around is what it sounds like from Trevin Wallace, and I get it. I mean, to be honest, if you have played football, there's certain times where the intensity for, you know, group or an understanding of what you're going to expect is going to be, you know, it's going to change. You may say, you know what, on this play we want to lighten it up, or on this day we're not going to go full speed when we go through this simulation, or I don't expect you to come lay me out. People can get mad. So there you have it. Did see some good highlights from some that was posted with some one-on-one drills with Damian Lewis and Turk Wharton. The other thing, folks, I don't know how many of y'all got to see it. Panthers social went live, at least on X. I assume on YouTube, Facebook. I didn't check. But they were live streaming practice today. And I mean, not the full thing, like, let's be honest, but they were live streaming practice, which was good to see. I thoroughly enjoyed being able to sit, even if we don't get the full thing, but being able to see a little bit as we go through it. So yeah, talking through this is pretty cool. The hit, second-year linebacker Trevin Wallace delivers a hit to Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard objects, rises to his feet, took a swing at Wallace. The two get separated. Oh man, some of the things that came out of this are wild, quite literally wild. Talking through specifics though, man, Hunter Renfrow in particular, this Superman, whatever you want to call it, resurgence, him being able to figure it out. We talk about his health condition and considering retirement, talking about never wanting to play football again. Not only that, but part of the reason not wanting that he didn't want to play is because of how he felt he left his teams hanging in the last year with the Raiders. I mean, talking about a team guy. What baffles me the most, and I'm not here to say I was Team Renfro being a superstar from the day that we signed him, but I was buying into the fact that, like, this thing could work out. Subtly sneaks in, signs to the team. Part of the reason he wants to be here, I mean, one, he's a Carolina guy. He said that in the presser today, talking about being in the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach, where he is now, playing at Clemson. He told his agent this is where he would want to play, and he hopes to play and continue, hopefully working his way through here. But I got to tell you, folks, man, he is rising up the charts, not just from our perspective, but I think he's showing it on the field. And I'm not here to tell you he's going to be wide receiver one, but I do think he's creeping up in a way that, folks, we could be talking about him potentially getting snaps over Adam Thielen down the stretch if you talk about the slot, hoping that he stays and remains healthy. But this is the type of production that potentially we're going to get out of this guy in Hunter Renfrow. And I'm not here to oversell him to you guys just yet. I understand, like, at the point that we are, but the way that Dave Canales has talked about him kind of working through his progress, going from OTAs, getting his feet back underneath him, working on his craft, his route running, knowing when to break, when not to break, what he can do, how to fit into the coverage, like all those things are important pieces to this. And man, the Hunter Renfrow comeback story for the Carolina Panthers to get this guy, if this does pan out, I'm telling you folks, one, he could be setting himself up for a nice payday, and hopefully it is, and he wants to remain here in Carolina. But you talk about an Adam Thielen replacement, a younger core, folks, he's only 29. I continue to talk about comparing him to Adam Thielen for the simple fact we got Adam Thielen when he was later in his career. He's younger than Adam Thielen was when he came here, so you could get another 3 years out of him. That type of production, it's definitely possible. But it was a really good day all around, of course, with the support in attendance by none other than his former college coach. But man, it's going to be good. I can't wait to see it. I hope this hype and anticipation that we keep talking about translates on to the field. Here we go. Let's share this one. Get you a nice little Dabo and Hunter Renfrow picture selfie, getting a selfie. So lots of good stuff coming by way of Hunter Renfrow. Now, I don't think I have this in my notes. We're going to get back into the view there in just a second. I don't think I have it in my notes for those that are following along, and I'm checking to see because I don't think I do, and I know I don't. But another thing that I wanted to talk about or highlight is JT Sanders. Now, I know we all expected a nicer year, a bigger year for him coming into his second. We all know the health scare from last year. It just felt like, though, that, yeah, maybe we were going to see a little bit different version of him this year. We know about the weight loss. Everything we've been hearing is that he's faster. And somebody even posted today that he looks like a wide receiver at times. Like, I think that just goes to show you how much he's improved, how much work he's put in. You think about the Carolina Panthers being able to hit on some of these later picks, fourth-round selections. You think about the Chuba Hubbards of the world being able to potentially do this with JT. There's another guy in the mix too. I saw a clip posted of ETN making JC Horn look silly. I mean, it was a day for the offense. I saw Xavier going the one-on-one against JC, winning. We saw a fantastic ball from Bryce Young to Terrell, McMillan, T-Mac, and my gosh, dude, it just attacks the route very well at the top, then breaks away at the last second, catches it back over the shoulder right near the sideline. That connection, there was a lot of talk of guys catching the ball in stride and running. I still just firmly believe, man, this offense is gearing up for a big surprise for most. That folks that have been sleeping a little bit on the Carolina Panthers, and again, folks, we're not here to pound the table that this is a top 5 offense just yet. We're not at that point, or to have expectations that this team is going to win 12 games or anything crazy. But I do think from the offensive standpoint that they're just going to be in a much better position based off of just where they were, man. And a lot of that's going to have to do with Bryce Young, who's leading the charge. Just seeing this deliberate, focused Bryce Young in year 2 of the Dave Canales. I was going to say project, but it's not really a project of the Dave Canales system. Part of a project. All good. All right, folks, let's keep it rolling now, talking through a few other notable pieces that we have here. So, Terrell McMillan, the deep ball connection with Bryce Young. Coach Canales called it a beautiful play by Bryce, highlighting the rapidly developing chemistry between the quarterback and his new weapon. I mean, it's just one of those things he did. I mean, burning Mike Jackson's, I don't know that I'd go that far, but he did showcase his stride. And one of the things that Canales did talk about in regards to T-Mac is, yes, his 40 speed, 4.48, 4.5 40, which some may consider a little bit slower for a wide receiver. But the way he talked about it is his speed really builds up as he gets down the field. So you think about those longer routes, you think about crossing routes, coming over the top. A lot of what we've seen Mike Evans do to the Carolina Panthers over the years, that's kind of what our expectations are for what Terrell McMillan is going to bring to this offense. It is a deep threat. And man, I got to tell you, Jimmy Horn Jr., I saw him out there, a bunch of highlights. Like all around, this may be the best core skill group. And we haven't really talked about Dowdle either, but the best core skill group for the Carolina Panthers that we have seen. And I don't know when. Like, I just don't know. Of course, we remember the days of C-Mac, CMC. We remember the days of Cam Newton. But, I mean, in particular, when you think about a core group, because, like, there were really good pieces here at certain positions throughout the years. But, I mean, you're talking about fundamentally all around stout offense. Like, man, it's good. Bryce Young, consistent, man. And one of the things he did say was, I have to challenge myself every day to be as, if not more consistent than before. I think the funniest thing was a question around Hunter Renfrow when I don't remember the framing, but what was his comment when people talk about Hunter Renfrow, looking ordinary until the pads come on and then he becomes Superman, like he looks like a normal dude. And his response was, I don't think I'm at liberty to say what a normal person looks like, talking about his size. So a little bit funny on that side. Kind of laughs away through that. Now, the battles, and I mean, that's one of the things not on this list here. When we talk about the defensive line, so one of the positives with all the pieces that we have, and I guess there's really nothing else to share, so I'll take this off for a second. So unfortunately, y'all can look at me for a little bit. But when we talk about the defensive line for the Carolina Panthers, A'Shawn Robinson being in the mix and being healthy, and Dave Canales talked about that today, is big. just the state of where he is. And he's a little bit older, but you talk about him and Tershawn Wharton, and of course having Derek Brown and then Bobby Brown back in the mix. Everyone was asking today how the offensive line did, which was fairly good, and how the run defense went. And I think the run defense did okay as well. And I think, man, for where we are now compared to last year and the year before, like it just feels like it smells like a brand new team. And I don't know why, like even during the Matt Rule years where we did see, and I mean, I'm not going to say we saw winning, but we thought, we were heading in the right direction for where the Carolina Panthers were going to be. To see where it is right now, it's night and day, man. It does feel like the tide is finally shifting here in the Carolinas. To close out today's episode, for those that are watching, we are going to look at a few of the practice photos. I'm trying to do something new. Said, you know what? Let's do it. There's some really nice photos on Panthers.com. Really cool photography, which I'm scrolling through right now. I'm guessing they took this one with a mirror shot up there. A lot of people walking out to the field. Unfortunately, we don't get to see this, as we know. Bryce Young live and in action. ETN. We showed that one earlier with Dabo Sweeney walking onto the field. Pretty cool to see him out there. There you go. Rookie Nick Scorton. Mix of guys out there. A lot of good shots. I haven't heard a lot, to be honest, at this point of Scorton and where he fits in. Really a lot of Uman Mielen. And I go back between Uman and Uman. I'm waiting for the official enunciation because I've heard both pronounced that way, but all around good practice. There we go. Getting a little kicking action. I did not see a report on who did what today. There's JT Sanders right there. And Christian Rose booming coverage. It's still got the green dot. Yep, green dot right there at the top of the head. So still calling it. Not a lot has changed down the stretch. So anyways, folks, look at T-Mac, man. That's slick. Terrell McMillan, man. Helping win the day defense. I'm going to say they won that rep by the looks of it. With Bryce Young and a few other guys there. Anyways, folks, there's your selfie. That is going to do it for today's episode. This is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.